Good morning, everybody. Okay, so I know it has been a couple days since I gave you a live stream. As you had seen in the last one, I had to keep blowing my nose, and so I ended up developing a slight fever by the end of that day, and my nose had really started to run, like just the same as Cascade, so to speak. And I couldn't keep it cleaned up. So I ended up having to get me some cold and allergy medication, and I took it yesterday, and it made me so drowsy. So I wasn't able to give you a live stream or do anything yesterday. I sat around, I'd done a little bit of my earnings, and I would doze on and off. And this morning I'm still a little tired, but I don't need to take any more of the medication, so I'm glad about that. Um, and remarkably, uh, even though I wasn't able to really do anything, um, my rate didn't all that much. Like, so the day that I gave you the live stream, I was 221.4 or 221.2, I think. But yesterday, I weighed in at 219.98, 219.8. I've got it on the calendar anyway. But anyway, I was 219 and some ounces. And then this morning I came in again at 221.6. So it seems like I'm kind of bobbing between 221 and 219 right at this current moment. But I noticed that my stomach is starting to get more flat when I went to take my shower this morning, and I always do a profile look of my gut, not just a frontal view, but I do a profile view too. And I saw that my stomach looked incredibly flatter than it had. So I'm not going to be measuring myself at least for another week or two. But I do believe that there's a good possible chance that my waist will be a very decent number, maybe an inch more, less or so. I've really not been doing anything, but I'm not drinking soda, and that's definitely one thing. That's definitely one thing. And I have started being more cautious of my portions. So I'm not overdoing my portions. And I am logging my food. And it looks like I am keeping around 1,600 calories. 1,600, 1,700. That's not including what I may eat extra that I didn't record. Like yesterday, I measured that I had ate 1,620 calories, and then I ended up eating a whole bag of popcorn. Well, partial. I didn't eat all the popcorn this time. I think I ate about 2/3 of it. But I didn't record that. So uh, my my sausage and my eggs for 2 different mornings. I had only had one sausage patty and one egg, and my half cup yogurt and my hot coffee. And it would show me to have took in about 610 calories or so. And I had noticed that they had put the sausage patty to be at like 210 calories. And I thought that was pretty high for one sausage patty, one egg, half cup yogurt, and hot coffee. So this morning I decided to look on the label for my sausage, and the sausage patties are only 100 calories per sausage. I thought, okay. And so I went on ahead and I used the bar scan to capture, because normally on Fitbit, they've got a menu of the product that you ate and the brand it is or what restaurant or whatever, and you choose from there. And supposedly it's got the nutrient list on it. But I used my scanner this time instead of going by the list, and it still showed the sausage patty to be 110, but it made it 100 calories less. And the eggs were considerably less instead, because it was showing, I think my eggs was, one egg was like 110 or something like that. And it finally showed it up that the egg was 80. And I done the same thing with the sugar, because it was showing the sugar for one serving to be like over 100 calories. And we know that sugar isn't like that, not when it's measured a teaspoon. So I done the same thing there. So I got the real count, the real calorie count. And now, let me remind you, my 2 individual breakfasts of just one sausage and one egg, half cup yogurt, and my hot coffee was coming up around 610 calories for breakfast. Just one of each. This morning I had 2 pieces of sausage and 2 eggs. And it showed me that I only had 600 calories. 10 calories less with more. But also it showed that this time my macros is really balanced. Uh, only, I think I saw 48 grams of carbs, 40 grams of protein, and like 43 or something like that grams of fat, or 48, somewhere around there. But I definitely know that the protein was 40 grams. So for the first time, I actually managed to get my macros more balanced instead of having more of one than the other. And it seemed like I could never get my protein up there. Wasn't a problem getting the carbs up there, and the fat pretty well, but always struggled to get the protein up there. And this time I got it more balanced with more protein in. 40 grams of protein to start in the morning is a great number. So I am very happy about that. I'm still sipping on my hot coffee here. I had invested in I think I read, um, seems like I read that it's a 12-ounce mug, but it looks bigger than 12 ounces. Anyway, I had bought it from Walmart. It was actually a gift from the Lord for me being faithful in my tithes and offering. And it reads, "Fueled by Jesus and coffee." Well, I don't get my fuel from coffee. I don't get I don't get a burst of energy from drinking coffee, and it doesn't keep me up at night either. But I drink it in the morning anyway. Anyway, I'd put it in my sealed thermos. That way, I don't get animal hair or a bug or it be knocked over. So anyway, um, need needless to say, and I had gotten a sticker that I had put on my thermos in the morning when I rise. In the morning when I rise, give me Jesus and coffee. Which I'm not a coffee fan. I don't need to wake up with coffee, but I did notice one day I was completely out of my iced mocha, and as the day went by, I kept feeling myself. Uh, um, I was getting weak and lightheaded, and my housemate brought me home a can of iced coffee. Oh, my iced coffee is International Foods, or no, International Delight, which is from International Foods Coffee Company. Anyway, so I drank that, and I felt my energy rise. Now, once again, as I had said, coffee doesn't give me a boost of energy, but apparently I've got my body dependent on it. But that is okay because I had explained a few different times that um, I still have monthlies, and without coffee, I cramp really bad. But as long as I keep drinking coffee, I drink it by day, 1 cup by day, then I don't have a problem with cramping. So I actually do drink it more as a medicinal product than anything. Um, but other than that, it's not a major staple in my meal. So first time I noticed it, two trees, one in my neighbor's yard and then one inside of our yard. They're both the same tree. Interesting. So anyway, yesterday I didn't get any carb burn in. Now, or calorie burn, rather. I was really wanting to do the 3,000 calorie burn challenge the entire week from Monday until Friday. Excuse me. Sorry. I had really wanted to do it Monday through Friday. Monday, I don't remember what my reason. Yeah, I ended up having really a bad sleepless night with acid and everything. Sunday night, Monday morning. So I didn't do anything Monday. And then Tuesday, with my sinuses doing what they was doing, and then yesterday with me taking the allergy medicine to go on ahead and knock it out. And I don't see myself going on ahead and doing the 3,000 calorie burn, but just today and tomorrow. But I am going to continue recording my food, which I have basically done. And I was meaning to take a picture of my breakfast. I'm wanting to take photos of what I eat. I'm wanting to take photos of my plate for my still shots, and I keep forgetting to take the photos. I don't want to just tell yous what I've ate. I want yous to see it. I'm wanting to document everything that I do. Because later down the road, if I'm in a pickle or I'm on the edge of a plateau, I want to go back and watch so that I can, be inspired to keep going at it. Shucks it. Man, I've got to remember to do that, do that, do that, do that. I get so many things on my mind anymore, and it's like I can't remember to do one thing or another. You might be wondering what all that tinkering around is. I invested in a very large plastic pool from BG to encourage the dogs to swim this summer while it's hot. And I've got it up on its side, tucked between the pole of the porch awning and this table. And Topperman, our male cat, is inside playing with the instruction paper. More or less, it's a safety paper, telling parents don't leave your child all unattended, da 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 da, same old, same old. Anyway, he's playing with the paper because I never took it out of it, and it's kind of rolling around with him in it. Almost reminds me of a gerbil in its cage in a spinning wheel. Anyway, I'll try to remember to take photographs of my other two meals today. I'll try to remember. Uh, I just, like I said, I get so many things on my mind, and it's to the point now that I either forget one thing or another. But I've got all these things on my mind of what I'm wanting to do, what I'm planning on doing. And I need to just think of one thing at a time and get it accomplished before I start thinking about another thing, if I would. Uh, I had found this woman by the name of Sally McRae who does these so many mile walkathons, runathons. I guess just races, And like I saw her do a 200-mile race, a 250-mile race. And I got thinking, because she was pushing herself so hard to the point that she was developing like the worst kind of blisters ever on her feet. But she had found a way that when her feet would start hurting her so severely that she would find that pain and she would, like, I don't know, tune it out, or I don't know what in the world she was doing about it. But instead of focusing on the pain in her feet, she would ask around about who was in front of her, how far ahead. They'd tell her. And so rather than getting rest, she'd just turn around and change into warmer clothes or whatever it was that she needed. And she would refill her drink pack on her back and get started, no matter what time it was at night, even at 2 o'clock. She would be at it. And on the run race, she came in. It was a 250-mile race. She came in fourth place female, because it's men and women both that's running it. So as the female, she came in fourth place. On the 200 miles, she came in at and third place woman. And she had tried really hard to find and pass. And on another one, she had approached the one that was in front of her and passed her and continued on. But one in particular, she had the race was so grueling because there was a whole lot of going up hillsides and the route was rocky, and she even had to go through a creek, and, like, I guess the skin on her heels was peeling off. But she pushed through, and she ended up staying ahead and came in first place on that one. And my thought was, man, if I would do one of those races, I wouldn't care if I was the last one that finished the finish line. I'd just be happy to say I did one. And, like, yes, I'm very competitive, but I'm also definitely not up to par to do what she did. But I wouldn't mind attempting it sometime down the road to find me maybe a 50-mile one or something like that. And I really honestly wouldn't care what place I came in. I would just be tickled to say, yes, I done it. So, and I don't know, maybe further down the line after because I've got these thoughts going through that I'm really going to go for this, and I'm going to stay focused on it. And when I reach my goal, I'm going to do different things to really challenge myself to keep the weight off instead of just sitting around and eating. I want to be active. I want to get involved in challenges and stuff like that. So I've got to get myself down there first. I get down there to my goal weight, and then I can go from there. And in the meantime, I can do these smaller challenges to kind of boost my body into the lunge that it needs to get over the small hurdles that it gets stuck on. As I had said in my last live stream Tuesday or Monday, is Monday or Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday, I said it, that it's good to find inspirational people that goes through these things. And I have talked to you about Real Tennyson, and he was building his body up to be in a bodybuilder's competition, and he won, which I'm tickled. Although his thighs looked absolutely hideous, but apparently the judges loved it. Anyway, come to find out, and I had heard bits and pieces before, but what I understand is when Will was a child, he was a little overweight for his age. And as he grew into a teenager, he had gotten into gaming, which means that he sat a lot. And then somehow or another, he had picked up exercising, and he had more or less like made that his channel. Exercising challenges, eating challenges, and I'm not talking about eating competitions where you cram all the food down, but I'm talking about challenges to see how good you feel after having so many calories of such and such a type of food. And he had later decided to become a bodybuilder and at least participate in one competition. And so that's what he started working for. But I understand that at one time he weighed around 200 pounds, and he's only 6 foot tall. So he had gotten himself involved in losing the weight, getting ripped and buffed, and most of his videos shows him at the gym doing something. So, I see these people that have succeeded in doing these different things, but I think I'm really going to start watching Sally McRae a little more and her marathons, because, like, she's a very skinny woman. She's very thin. But I got thinking about the calories that she's burning, because she's not just walking about 10 or 15 miles a pop. She is putting down 20 and 30 and even 40 miles a pop. And at one point, when she had gotten to her one checkpoint, her husband goes to the checkpoints and waits for her there. And when she came into the checkpoint, she had learned that she had only done 70 miles for that. And she said that she had actually hoped to get in 80 miles. So, she's really excessively pushing herself. She does what I call the granny trot. It's not really a jog, and it's not a walk. It's the speed that's between a fast walk and a jog. I call it a granny trot or an elder trot. And that's basically what she's doing to kind of keep up the pace and stay ahead of a lot of the competition and stuff. And I got thinking, how many calories does that woman burn? Because at the checkpoints, she's getting to eat cold lasagna or pizza and I understand that when you do these competitions, you do these long mile races, you need the extra carbs. Yeah, you need to put in the protein, because the protein lasts with you for a while, and it helps to keep your muscles working. But the carbs also is the energy. And so they eat high carbs in these competitions. And so, but I really wonder how many calories does this woman burn, because she's managing to do these long mile races. Like the one race that she done, seems like I remember seeing 84 hours, and it might have been like the 250 where she came in fourth place. I'd have to pay closer attention to the hours, but she really puts in the time. She hardly sleeps. She hardly allows herself to get a rest. But there'd been a couple times that she ended up having to really sleep for a little bit. So there isn't really any place around here that I could push myself like that. But right now, I'm still busy getting myself built up, working on getting myself stronger, and losing this weight, and learning how to manage my food better and things. And as I get stronger and go further into this and get lighter and stuff, I may push myself into more drastic type challenges. Nothing that would cause me to collapse or hurt myself, but just challenges that would really push me deeper into, uh, as we like to say, push us in out of our comfort zone, which is what I really need to do. I need to stop pampering myself so much to the point that I don't do anything at all. The last time I had a really good walk was last week, Monday, which was the last beautiful day that we had had. After that, the rest of the week was storm and everything. And even this week, we had some storm. Today is a very gorgeous day. There's clouds, but there's no threat of storm. So, or at least at this very moment, there isn't. Uh, Yesterday, it didn't rain either. But of course, but today feels grayed out. The temperature is perfect, and it's lovely. It's very lovely. So days like this, I could be out walking, and I am wanting to get myself into that shape where I could just move it. Boy, that bird has an odd sound. I don't know what that bird is. I've never heard that bird sound before. That's a weird one. But yeah, I'm taking it kind of like one day at a time, nailing one thing so I can start nailing another. And the saying goes, you can't out exercise a poor diet. And that is so true. Uh, Before I had said I thought I was broken. And, but what was going on was, even though I was walking, I really wasn't losing weight. But I was busy having pretty good sized portions and eating chips and, just really. And I'm not dissing junk food, okay? I will never diss it. But when you eat so much of it that it's almost your staple, that's when it starts to backfire. And so I'm bringing that down now. But I was eating so much junk food over regular food and having a whole bunch of it that no matter how much I walked, it didn't really move the scale at all. I would see one number then another and back and forth. And then eventually I stopped walking altogether because it hurt too much. Well, that's because I wasn't putting down the kind of food that I needed to move. And now I'm really trying to focus more on having protein and keeping the meals more balanced with smaller portions and only allowing myself junk food on occasion, but not so much to the point that I'm craving it. And I am finding myself more or less almost in a mentally I'm bouncing, like ready to get out there and get at it. Girl. And that's the reason why I didn't want my coffee mug out here. It's smart me putting my thermos out. So Callie's out here. She's up on the table. Anyway, I'm just I'm anxious to get out there and start walking again. And in some ways, because I am still tired. Yes. Are you trying to photobomb? Huh? You trying to get a shot there in the video? They saw your head. Um, I'm still exhausted from the slight fever that I had, but at least I'm not having to take the medicine. I'm not going to be taking the medicine now. So from this point on, I'm just going to let my body finish recuperating on its own. Hopefully I'll be up to mowing the grass tomorrow because it is it's a jungle out there where it had rained so much. The grass is crazy tall. And I just hope I'm up to mowing it tomorrow. If not tomorrow, maybe Saturday. And then of course Sunday is rest, which whether or not I need it. But I want to kind of make Sunday as my rest day, even if I don't do anything, because I have church in the morning, and after that it's too hot to get out there and do anything. So I just make it a rest day. So all should work out that next Monday I am going to work toward doing the 3,000 calorie burn challenge for the week, Monday through Friday. I'm going to do my best to get at it. Uh, I've noticed, and this is one thing that maybe people wouldn't think twice about. It wouldn't even cross their mind on it, honestly. God cares about the minute things in our life, not just about us living righteous, but the things that matters most to us. And our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit. And we're supposed to take care of these bodies. And where I have been making such an effort to do better, to utilize my body better through walking and activity, it's almost like there has been stumbling blocks after stumbling blocks. With first a personal issue taking me out for a week, and then me getting back at it and almost having heat stroke and that taking me out for a week, and then the weather, keeping me from at it for a week, and then this for a week. It really seriously seems to me like, and it would only make sense because this is how Satan works. This is exactly how Satan works. He likes to mimic God, or at least come as close as possible to destroy what God is doing. So God cares about the minute things in our life, right? And even if that means us caring about how much we may walk or run or dance or jog or whatever we're doing to burn calories, whatever we're doing to get our body into better motion. And that matters to us. We really put ourselves into it. And God cares about that. He cares because you care. And He wants you to take good care of your temple that He lives in. Would you stop? Sit down and be a good girl. You're shaking the table all over the place. Beep, beep. I love you. Oh, my baby. Anyway, so with me taking care and being more active, and that really meaning something to me, it seems to me like Satan is putting out stumbling blocks. And most of it is mental because that's where he works. He works mentally. He likes to work in the mental. As far as it goes, the personal matter, he had no control over that. That had everything to do with nature, how God created me. With the weather, Satan had nothing to do with the weather. God creates the weather. So things like that, the heat that knocked me out, that I almost got the heat stroke from, once again. But it's a mental thing where I start to feel poorly from the uh, situation, or I get knocked out of the chance to be able to go walking because the weather's got me stopped. And I think this thing, like for instance, with the weather, I really can't walk the house because that causes me to have sharp pain in my feet, ankles, knees, hips. And so I think to myself, I can't do it. That knocks me out for the week. So am I going to let elements and Satan stop me from being active? God has been showing me grace by me losing some weight. I mean, for me to finally see 219 twice this week is tremendous. That's just the same as 16 pounds gone. But I'm really wanting to get active, seriously active, so that I can keep my metabolism strong. And I'm just going to have to fight against it the best way I can. Now, when I get into the weak state, there isn't much I can do. I can barely get myself off of the couch or walk through the house anyway. But when it's just the weather that's keeping me from getting out there and walking, then that's a different issue. There's things that I can do inside the house. So maybe I can't walk the house, but I have got a playlist of really good walking music. It's got a great tempo that I could dance to or run in place to, whatever, something. Now, I could do that during the weather. I don't have to let the weather keep me from doing anything. When other things comes up that zaps the energy out of me, then yeah, I'm stuck there. But I don't have to let the weather keep me from being active. So I'm just going to have to fight against the mentality like, man, once again, I can't do this or that, because that's not the truth. There are things that I can do, and it isn't all about me getting out and walking the neighborhood. It isn't all about that. Now, this week I am allowing it because even though I'm doing better today, my sinuses are still just a little swelled. I can tell that my sinuses are just a little swelled, some. So, um, I'm thinking about attempting to jog in place or dance or something. Maybe just jog in place for a little bit and see how that does me. And who knows, that might open up my airways. That might actually do something for my sinuses. I don't know. I'm thinking about trying it. But if anything, I am definitely going to work toward, just staying good with my meals. The good news is I don't have any more junk food, no more jelly beans or anything like that. So I can get back to concentrating on just eating the more whole foods. I am finding that I prefer the whole foods over the junk food. Like, the junk food is okay for a moment, but I I get more fulfillment, satisfaction out of the wholesome foods. Like, for instance, the Greek yogurt is really awesome dessert. Or sometimes even during a meal, I like to have another cup of my iced mocha. So there's ways of me taking care of my sweet tooth without going overboard with junk food. And my body is actually very much more happy about it. I don't feel so drained. With the junk food, I kept noticing that I felt drained, just wanted to sit around. I was lethargic, and I found myself wanting to eat more of the junk food, more of the chips, more of the candy, whatever. And it's like there was no end to it. But with the wholesome foods, I'm satisfied. I don't think about food, and I really don't need to eat again for quite some time. Sunday, I had found that I really wasn't even hungry, and I had fixed tacos, and it was like around almost 2 o'clock. And even then, I really wasn't hungry, but I ate, and that was the first meal I'd ate. I broke my fast with the tacos close to 2 o'clock. So, and that's fine with me. But some mornings I find myself to be hungry, and other mornings I'm not. This morning I found myself, my blood sugar must have been a little low because I found myself to be somewhat shaky, and I hadn't had anything. I didn't even take my pill yet, and I was feeling that. So um, I had to eat, but it was still after 10 when I got to. Just got to pay attention to my body and what it's telling me if I need to eat or if I'm not hungry. And if I'm not hungry, then don't eat. Um, And that's all part of how that goes. Just eat when hungry. And if I can make it throughout the rest of the evening after 6 o'clock and not eat anything, even if I'm hungry, then so be it. But if it gets to a point that I really start feeling bad for the hunger, then I go on ahead and eat. So, and I'm learning not to feel guilty about it because I am actually making the effort to do it right. And as long as I'm not just throwing it up into the air and taking advantage of and saying, don't matter, I'm losing weight, I'm keeping it in the back of my mind. I've got to keep doing this right because I know how my body is. If I just completely let go, thinking that everything's okay, I'm working toward losing weight and I'm not doing anything else to lose the weight, then I start gaining. And I'm wanting this to be a permanent thing. I'm wanting my weight loss to be permanent. That I reach my goal and I stay there. That I am no longer obese, overweight, because I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I'm done carrying the load. I'm finished. And I like how I feel eating more wholesome foods over the junk food. The cravings have come down quite a bit. I don't crave stuff like I once did, which is awesome. Even thinking about wholesome foods, I'm wondering what am I going to eat because I just so. But that's a tremendous turnaround for me. That is a very awesome turnaround. That's great. So I am going to have to buckle down though and really try to get more action in there because I am wanting to get toned. I'm wanting to get stronger. I'm wanting to have more energy, more stamina to just really. Because once I reach my goal, I want very much for my body to not be flabby, but to be toned. I just, I want to have a little bit of muscle definition in there. And muscle definition helps a whole lot toward losing weight and maintaining the weight loss. So that's where a whole lot of body toning and exercise and strength training comes in. I didn't bother to get on the floor this morning because of the slight congestion in my nose. I'm not wanting to put any pressure on my head. And when you get low, gravity takes over. So, but I really hope I can mow the lawn tomorrow. Man, it needs it. It needs it. My dogs disappear in the grass. And you know it's tall when your dogs disappear in the grass. So it really does need mowed. I mowed it last Saturday, I think. Yeah, yeah. No, when did I mow? Pretty sure I mowed it. No, I mowed it the week before because it rained last week. And we went and got groceries. So it's got 2 weeks growth. Still needs done. Does time slip by on you all. It's gotten so much to the point. God had once taught me that He wanted me to finish my day at 9 o'clock and go to Him before bed. And when I would look at my watch, it would show like 7:30 or 10 after 8. Okay. And then when I'd look at my watch again, it'd be 11 o'clock. Or, and I would find myself going to bed anywhere from 12 to 2 in the morning, preparing for bed and praying. And so I had to set my watch to go off at 9 o'clock in the evening for me. That way I know it's 9. That's so bad that the time slips so fast from me anymore. And then I've got my watch also set up to wake me up at 7 in the morning. So at 9 when my watch goes off, I'm supposed to turn off the TV, put my phone down, go pray and prepare for bed. And then get up at 7 and try to beat the heat and exercise. Well, I had just set my watch a couple nights ago, and that's worked out just fine. But I've been having my watch go off for the last couple of weeks at 7 in the morning on the weekdays. And when I've been exceptionally weak or tired, or like staying up till 2 in the morning, I've allowed myself to sleep in. I just shut my watch off and I go back to sleep. And there's been a couple mornings I got up after 10. Yesterday I woke up after 10. Okay. But now this morning I got up 10 after 8. So that's a little better. That's a little better. But I also went to bed uh, about 9:30, around 9:30, something like that. So that made a big difference too. So I hate the thought of having to set myself up alarm clocks, but I got to do what I got to do, or I'm going to stay exhausted anyway. And I want to have good night's sleep. I want to get up at a decent time, go to bed at a decent time. And I know, it's almost like a broken record. Broken record. I want, I want, I want, I want, I want. But see, these are my desires. These are my desires, and they're desires to do better, to do right by me, to take care of the temple that my Lord lives in, to appreciate Him and the fact that He gave me this living, breathing body for me to live in. These are my desires to do right, to finally take care. Is so I'm adjusting accordingly to the best of my ability to do better. That way I'm no longer taking advantage of the fact that I'm dwelling in this body and that it lives, it breathes, and it's got to eat and it's got to sleep. I want to do it all in a very good fashion so that I reap the better benefits of the effort instead of reaping the poor benefits, the sad effects of doing ill against my own body, like staying up late, eating junk food, just sitting around doing nothing. You know, there's a big difference there, and I am finding that difference. I'm finding a huge difference in eating more wholesome, being more active. Uh, and even when I do go to bed earlier, I am finding the benefits of doing myself right. And they're so much better. More energy and better mood. Probably in a better mood because I can smile at myself. Yes, I did it again, instead of being in a foul mood. Man, why did I do that for? That was stupid, right? So it makes a difference. Mood rise as well. What we do in this life really does affect our mood. If we do right, we can smile and nothing can touch us. Attitude is a big difference too. In my past, far past, like when I was in my late 20s and 30s, probably even in my early 40s, I kept thinking, I don't want to stop eating candy and ice cream, all that good stuff. I didn't want to stop eating seconds of something that just tastes so good. I wanted to lose the weight. When I had gained it, I wanted to lose it back. I wanted to get rid of it, but I didn't want to stop my eating habit. And so I'd carried a bad attitude where, hey, I just exercise, but I'm not going to change the way I eat. I'm not going to stop eating the way I eat. I'd lose so much and then I'd quit exercising and just continue the eating. So attitude makes a world of difference too. If you don't change your mind about something, you're not going to change your behavior. And I had to really change my mind and realize that I couldn't just get away with walking or whatever. I couldn't just get away with sitting around and eating junk food either. I had to combine the two and really get determined about it. The one thing that really made a difference was that there wasn't any more junk food in the house, but I had found that, which I'd always known that I liked yogurt, and so I wanted to get back into eating it again. And when I had started eating it again, that kind of made a difference there because I enjoy eating the yogurt just as much as I do ice cream, if not more. Matter of fact, we had invested in a tub of ice cream during the weekend, and I found myself eating more than I should have. And I thought, I don't even like this anymore. Because it was getting to be overwhelming, is what it was. The first few bites, and got to a point like, ew, I just don't like it anymore. In the past, you would have found me saying yes to going and getting myself a blizzard. And at one time, I was getting large blizzards. And then I got down to a small. And then when they started doing the minis, I got the minis. Well, now I could care less if I got one at all. Uh, I like the Krabby Patties. They're gummies, little gummies. And even those I could kind of stretch a little further than what I was. It's just a big old difference from how I used to eat. Giant difference. And I do know for a fact that if I attempt to start eating the junk food again, eventually, yeah, I would start eating it again, and that would be my whole staple. So I don't even want to get myself started on it again. A small bowl of chips here or there, fine, but a small bowl, not a giant bowl. And that's a giant step right there because I used to just take the bag and eat out of the bag until I was done. Sometimes when the bag was done. So I went to eating chips in a bowl, and now my bowls have shrunk. But I'm not wanting to get back into junk food. I'm not. I do like the thought of eating more protein packed wholesome foods, and but I'm never ever going to say that you can't lose weight and you know if you eat M&Ms or chips or whatever that you can't lose weight because I've proved that you can. You can, but you lose weight a lot easier if you really minimize how much and how often. So these are things that I'm learning. Things that I'm learning through hit and miss here and there. And I had almost back in 18 and 19, I had almost nailed it to a perfection. Almost. I went back and was watching my videos. And when I first started 2018, I kept going between 214 and 212. And every video, I would either say, I'm eating this and this and that and that and this and this, and I'm such and such. And on other days, I would be boo-hooing. I've got to quit doing this. I got to quit doing that. But every time I was having chips and I was having a candy bar and I was drinking soda. And a few times on my earlier videos, I was really boo-hooing about it. And then later, we had moved to a different apartment. And this is when I had really started to change. And I had started, well, even in the one apartment, I had started to knock out the junk food and not eat it so much. But when we moved to the other apartment, I was like, I was doing the lay down and intermittent fasting together. I was combining it. And I really wasn't wanting the junk food so much, but I was still allowing myself to eat it. And I had found myself also drinking soda. Like, I didn't stop drinking soda. But at the same time, I was losing the weight. And between 18 and 19, at one point, I had gone from just eating like 2 meals and a snack to eating one meal. And I had gone from 217 down to 172. But then I had allowed myself to start eating all kinds of junk food because the Family Dollar was very close, and I would walk to the Family Dollar and I would get myself cookies and sweet tart ropes. Those sweet tart ropes was the undoing for me. And I found myself just eating more and more junk. less and less wholesome. Found myself hungry more and more during the day. I had gone from eating one meal to just eating throughout the day, not even allowing myself to get hungry. And I had even stopped exercising. And I saw that my stomach has started to swell all over again. And when I tried to take it back up and start exercising again, it was too late. I was already back into eating the junk food and stuff. And it just, I ended up gaining every bit of that back. And more. Because the biggest I had weighed was when he was in Houston, I was 232. Well, this year in January, I was up to 235. So I had gained the weight less. And we was in Houston from 14 to 16. So I almost nailed it on the head in 18 and 19 and the weight that I had lost. Because I was doing it right. I was walking, I was strength training, I was concentrating on only eating when hungry and stopping when full, and having smaller portions. But the one thing that I hadn't stopped was drinking the soda. And I kept noticing that I would have edema and I would have sharp pains telling me that I had kidney stones, and I kept blaming it on the coffee. Well, early last year or late of 23, which I think it was in late of 23, I done an experiment because I kept hearing people say, I lost weight by not drinking soda. So I done a test, and sure enough, in 4 days, I went from I was over 220 something and got down into the 210s somewhere in 4 days after not drinking soda for those 4 days. And sure enough, I wasn't bloated anymore and I wasn't so lethargic, but I had continued drinking my coffee. And at that time, I was drinking the Monster Java. So coffee doesn't cause me that problem. I can drink my hot coffee, I can drink my iced coffee, and I don't have a problem. But every time that I start indulging on soda, I develop the sharp pains, which tells me I've got a kidney stone. I develop edema, and then my urination starts to feel thick and slow. I like to call it thick, even though it's not thick, but that's just something I kind of deemed it. In other words, I do not have a very hard flow. So sure enough, soda, uh-uh. Now fountain soda with plenty of ice on occasion, like when I eat out, not a problem. But if I go with the cans or the bottles, big problem. So yeah, definitely not getting back into the soda kick. And I'm going to keep in mind to continue to keep at a minimal any sweets that I eat and just continue with the more wholesome foods. That way, for days I can't work out, days I can't exercise, everything is just fine because at least I've got my eating in order. Even if I don't lose any weight, at least I've got my eating in order. And I did record my coffee, So the 600 calories includes this, which has got creamer and sugar. Because I do not drink my coffee black. I do not, and I never will. So that's pretty well that. I had said earlier in the live stream for anybody who didn't hear it, my stomach is getting flatter, and I noticed this morning when I had looked at myself in the profile, looking at me from the side view, that it's flatter. I could tell looking down, I can actually see my lower belly. Oh, sorry. So there's improvements there. Um, I really don't know when I'll be measuring myself again. Uh, I don't think I'll measure myself this week. Maybe next week sometime or whenever I think about it. But anyway, I do look forward to seeing how much smaller my waist is because I am noticing that there's a difference there in my waist. And I look forward to getting back out there and getting active once again. But in the meantime, I'll come up with some things for me to do inside the house. That way, if we've got bad weather again, I'll get it out. If we get bad weather again, at least I've got something that I can go back on. So, anyway, I have been at Jim's for 1 hour and 17 minutes and counting. And that is pretty well all that I've got to say for now. I will more likely give you the conclusion video tonight to let you know if I did anything at all, and I'll have my still shots for you. And if all works out tomorrow, I will give you a live stream as well, and so on and so forth. So I appreciate you so very much. Thank you for watching. I hope that I'm being an inspiration for you all, or if not, at least, at, maybe at least I've encouraged you to try to lose weight yourself or something. But yeah. Anyway, I love you very much, and I appreciate you more than you would ever know. Just thank you very, very much. And I will see you tonight with the conclusion and the still shots. Y'all have a great day.